Hi there, Libra. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a reading for the remainder of April 2025. So the month has already kicked off, but we'll see what might be coming your way for the next little bit. Interesting. Man, this is a really interesting energetic spread here. Sometimes when the cards come out at first, there's a more clear path forward as far as how the reading should unfold. This one seems like I might just have to go piece by piece, little by little. So give me just a minute. I'm going to clarify a couple more cards and then try to get started in a coherent way. I think I might also be shaking off some nerves for whatever reason. The cards, even before I began your reading, didn't seem to be as forthcoming, or almost hesitant in a way, and I kind of feel that in my own energy a little. So, see, I wonder if those dynamics might kind of come into the mix of this reading. It feels like the kind of reading that you almost have to slowly warm up to, almost like earning trust in some sort of way. They don't always feel this way, but that's the way this one kind of feels. Yeah. I think that it seems like there might be like a life milestone approaching that sort of has the outward appearance or the kind of the presumption that this milestone should be a very positive experience. And I think that there are like heartaches or, just hardship from the past that for some reason seems to be like being pulled into this moment, a moment of great change and great potential, but kind of carrying with it, I I get like the feeling of an old, deep hurt. And man, it's sort of like, man, all of like the typical presentations of like a dream scenario unfolding are here. It's like, but the feelings that you have, it's like you can't feel them for some reason. Like it almost like, it seems like an experience should be positive, but you can't feel it that way, or there's difficulty feeling it that way. Or it's simply not knowing what to do with it. Like when an unexpected moment of freedom or more room in life opens, maybe like almost like a freezing, like not knowing what to do. So let's start unpacking it a little bit. At the heart of your reading, you have the Ten of Pentacles and the Three of Swords. This kind of suggests to me that there's, and I'm trying not to project based on my experiences with the Libras in my life, or but the feeling that I get from this combination is that like you wear a very you show up to life in a wholesome way. You're because of that equanimous nature that you're always striving to embody and to create in the world around you. You show up with a very good, strong presentation of, and even vision of how you believe people should be interacting, the way that the world should feel, the way that our communities and the members of our communities support one another. It seems to be a big common life theme for the Libras, like particularly harmony among people. But with this heartache, there's sort of like for however much you try to embody those high ideals, there's a deep pain that almost prevents you from fully living that experience when you feel like you otherwise could. And this heartache feels like deep and carried through life for a long time. And maybe we can clarify this a bit more, and I hope some of this imagery will make more intuitive connections with you, because I think these are sort of big themes that for me I think are feeling difficult to break down into specificity. So I hope that the pictures will connect with you a little more. In your conscious world, this is what's happening in the world around you that you observe, the kind of actions that you're taking, or the ways that you experience yourself like showing up and in this physical experience. And so you have the Tower here, and this sort of suggests that you're very aware of certain like old patterns crumbling. This feels like, really a moment of deep, of strong potential, I should say, rather. This Tower in and of itself almost feels welcomed. A feeling that I get is that you knew that something needed to shift and pretty much collapse in a significant way, and you invited that, and now it's almost like the vacuum or the void that this crumbling created is leaving you either baffled, scary, or maybe even in a state of like freeze in some sort of way. And what I mean by that is essentially the Tower here is clarified by the Chariot, the Four of Cups, and the Five of Pentacles. So there are very strong conflicting energies here, where the Chariot often embodies, or the way that it feels to me to embody, a sense of expansiveness and openness, of pure potential. of newness and excitement about novel experience. This really romantic idea that there are new desires coming through, and you don't know where they're going to take you, but you're fascinated. You're enticed. There's a very romantic element about this expansive freedom that seems to be available at this moment. Again, I think because some room has been made in some really significant ways. At the same time, I believe that whatever heartache you may be carrying is really tainting the way that you view this new opportunity, this openness that has presented itself. Because with the Four of Cups, there's this element of like maybe feeling like something is not connecting, like something is missing. And particularly missing because almost like I get the feeling of not knowing what to focus on, or maybe not knowing why certain emotions are taking you over at any given moment. Like maybe there's this desire to feel differently, yet you don't know how to feel differently. There's like some pattern or way of thinking or emotional state that just seems to be cropping up again and again that you can't break out of. And I think when I see it paired with the Five of Pentacles here, there is a feeling of like hopelessness, of being caught in a pattern of confusion or just unclarity. Sort of unclarity being more of like a feeling like more of a state of being. This doesn't feel connected to people. Like essentially there's a lack of connection missing here, where it's like I get the sense that this is your deep dream. This is what you want the world to feel like. You want this sense of community to be strong. You want your people around you. You want to feel connected to those people. But there's a lot of confusion here, a lot of sort of darker feelings that maybe you feel kept from this expansiveness, this creativity and freedom and exploration, really. So those are very difficult conflicts to be feeling. Let's see if we can unpack a little further. In your subconscious world, which is sort of like the energies that are motivating your action, kind of like controlling basically the way that you behave or the way that you're operating, that's happening in the subconscious world. And for you this month, you have the Eight of Wands. And this is sort of very fast-moving energy, a lot of potential, maybe the feeling of a lot of potential. And so it makes sense that there may even be a feeling of heartbreak about not knowing how to capitalize on this energy that seems to be moving, seems to be available, or maybe you perceive that it should be available. A lot of help, a lot of pieces coming together that have seemed maybe disparate in the past. But there is that feeling that the potential is there, but yeah, again, the heartbreak or the whatever strong feelings seem to be holding you back. It's like that. It makes sense that there's a state of distress when something is being kind of held back or unable to be accessed in that way. I got a little lost in that description. So let me just go ahead and try to clarify this Eight of Wands, so we can speak about it more precisely. Man. Yeah, because like along with the Eight of Wands, like I do feel a similar like energy with the Chariot, where there's that expansiveness, that potential. Yeah. And okay. All right. So, I mean, I think it's positive that you seem to be aware that it's a time to be working with some of like the shadow elements or the things that are difficult at this moment. And this is sort of like a new chapter for you. That understanding seems to be strong, in a deep way. And I think that's very important. So your Eight of Wands is clarified by the Temperance card and the Fool card. So this to me suggests that, you're working with the, maybe some of the darker elements of life, and you're hoping to find that more playful way of relating to them. Because I think what I'm seeing now is that there is they've sort of like taken over when they hit you, those strong feelings of hurt. But I think your deeper intuition is suggesting that those things are coming up to be worked with, and in fact can probably fuel you on your way forward in some way by being willing to interact with them a little more loosely, a little more playfully, or at very least more curiously. Because I think that will disarm them in a way that's really important for you. Even just kind of opening to the fact that, these things don't have to be so serious as you felt that they are. And I think it can also help in kind of like reframing a bit that encountering these things and meeting these things with some compassion is essentially your step through your new door, the new chapter of your life. Kind of that first step in the direction of something that feels expansive and free, yet not known yet. So and this, in a way, that will be like a demonstration of trust, like a willingness to work with those elements is your demonstration of faith. Faith. Well, actually, I'll leave it at that. I think you'll probably get what you need from that. Let's take a look at your challenge as well. So kind of wrapped up in what we've discussed so far is a difficulty with intimacy, or a difficulty connecting with people in a one-on-one way. So again, there's kind of like these ideas of how life should feel, but like disconnections or missing elements or disruptions in communication somehow, where there's this, strong desire for a very cohesive world for you and the people around you, yet on a one-to-one level, the relationships that comprise this community, on the one-to-one level, there's difficulties. So let's see what may be contributing to the difficulty in connecting to the close people in your life in a more one-on-one way. I think it's worth mentioning here too, before I clarify, that the dynamics of your one-to-one relationships may feel very off-kilter, very unbalanced in some sort of way. Because kind of going back to your conscious realm and some of the energies that you're feeling, I get that there may be a sense of not knowing who is leading in a particular dynamic or who is following, or how to work together with someone in order to make life feel more abundant, more warm, more conducive to love and positive experience, fulfillment, nourishment. There could be difficulties around that, which is, sometimes we tend to shut down when our communication channels feel so strained and we're at a loss as to what to do. So now let us clarify the challenge of the Two of Cups. Interesting. I was thinking it was going to be a direct sort of clarification, but I don't think it really is. see if we can get one more. Expectation seems to be in the mix here. Maybe like roles, or maybe like the roles that you see yourself playing, or that you imagine you should be playing in life, and the roles that other people in your life should be playing. It's like each person is seeing those roles in a different way, and they're not coming together in a harmonious manner, or there's not like an agreement as to how people should be showing up. Let me just take a moment to clarify your advice before we begin, because it may inform the challenge as well. And just so you know what I'm doing, your advice for this month is the devil in reverse. So my feeling is almost to like, my knee-jerk response to this is like everything that seems to be causing like harmony and disharmony and disruption in your life, sort of recognizing it as this thing that's just trying to like mess with you, or just be a disruptive element, and disarming that by just not giving it the attention, or the looking at it with the severity that you have been, like as this huge like detracting force that's taking from your life, like looking at it as something that's more like neutralized, with like not lending it the power in some way that you've been lending it. See what the clarification will say. Okay. Let's see if we can get one more, at least. Could be part of it. Okay, so just to kind of like bring this back a little bit, what we wanted to do was clarify the challenge for this month, which is the Two of Cups, kind of that close communication. Why is that going to be a challenge? Because there's contrasting energy between like waiting and taking action. And I almost get the feeling of like there's some deep offense taken at someone not fulfilling their roles in the way that you might expect them to. So it's like almost like you're waiting for certain pieces to align, certain people to fulfill the obligations that you know you both agreed that they would fulfill. Maybe someone perceiving that everything that's needed is here already, or maybe this is you perceiving that, you know, everything is here, everything that we need to be working, everything to make this vision happen, those materials are here. Why isn't it happening? And maybe there is like a growing discontent because there's a lot of energy here available as well to make good and capitalize on the resources that are ready. You know, the whatever project or dream or creation that you're working on, like it seems like the things that are needed are here. There's a tremendous amount of energy, but that influx of energy that really wants to take action, that's kind of spurring things onward, like, all right, keep moving. It's dampened by a waiting here, or an indecision almost, is sort of how it's feeling at this point. And again, because the Two of Cups are here, it's like it feels like there's a disagreement as to who should be doing what, or maybe one person believing that action is needed and another person believing that there needs to be some more waiting, or more time is needed to come through. So in thinking about those close communications with people that you're building life with, that you're trying to to work with even. And thinking about that, why is the devil in reverse for your advice here? I think it comes down to honoring yourself and your own needs and being really honest about what those are and what makes you feel good, and also leaving room for other people to operate in a way that makes them feel good, that fulfills their highest self, that nurtures them, that honors them in their individuality. So it's sort of like identifying needs and honoring all of those needs in a bigger way, a more robust way. Because maybe on a certain level, trying to do this, like I can see how there could be overwhelm if you feel like that your interactions with all of your loved ones or the people who you're working with in your life, if each particular one is loaded with these expectations rather than like really knowing what each person truly needs, that becomes so confusing and toxic really very quickly. But if you can adjust the frame around that, I think that will be very helpful, because again, the devil in reverse in your advice is clarified by the Queen of Cups, the High Priestess, and the Knight of Wands. So here it seems like whatever is really limiting your ability to see other people's needs and your own needs and how you can harmoniously serve one another and honor one another, there seems to be a call for more compassionate listening, deeper listening. And this is more openness as well. This is not listening to respond. This is not listening to arrive at a particular conclusion or to immediately begin problem solving as someone is just kind of sharing in some sort of way. This is kind of listening for the sake of being a compassionate place for someone to share, an open space for someone. And with the High Priestess, this is like your deeper intuition. It seems to me that you're probably cut off from your deep intuitive knowings at this moment, because there's too many discordant elements in maybe your thinking, your emotions, possibly physical stresses, feeling like you don't have the resources that you need. Those kinds of strains are going to get in the way of your intuitive knowing. But I think that you can reconnect with this intuitive knowing when you get into that place of more compassionate listening. And just be able to connect with other people deeper in this way as well. So it's like these, if you can begin that opening process, it's going to shift and transform so many elements, maybe even at the same time. And what will happen is that there will be an influx of energy where each person feels excited about the work that they're doing. They're going to feel excited because they feel heard. They're going to feel excited because they feel valued, that their contribution, that they can contribute in the way that they want to, and that will add to the abundance of the whole, the well-being of the whole, without feeling like they're meeting someone else's expectation. There's just a general sort of softer energy, a kinder energy in building this community when each person can be themselves. So if you observe other people maybe behaving in ways that are not themselves, that you don't recognize as them being in a positive state, or kind of behaving in ways that you don't recognize, in ways that don't seem to align with the person that you knew. It maybe, rather than trying to figure anything out, just leaving space for them to reveal more about why they might be showing up in a negative way, or you might learn what is happening underneath the surface for these folks, which could also then illuminate for you things that may be, emotions that may be stuck in some sort of way. It's maybe the feeling I'm getting is just to approach with openness and curiosity in your interactions with other people, and I think that's going to go a really long way. And it will make the actions that you take and the way that you communicate and agree upon, or maybe even negotiate responsibilities and duties, it will be easier, it will be more clear, the energy will feel better, everyone will feel more honored. That's the feeling I'm getting. So, and I think I'm starting to beat that horse a little bit much. So let's go into a couple of oracle cards to kind of highlight some important messages to carry with you forward. It almost feels like renegotiating the terms of your future, of your growth, renegotiating your ways forward in yourself and with other people, which it's understandable why that feels confusing right now. Let's see. Okay. At first, I did not think that this many oracle cards was going to be, I didn't think they were all going to be for you, but I think these are actually all meant to go together. So to begin with, you have no thingness. This is like the relinquishing expectations, coming to your communications with other people and even communications with yourself in a more neutral way. Maybe even, as I said in the Aries reading, this kind of suggests to me like resetting in a particular way. Resetting because when you find yourself kind of in this repetitious feeling of, communication feeling disconnected, or connection to emotions feeling strained or unclear or hazy, confusing, there could be a deeper reset that needs to happen, like a more profound way of just surrendering and then starting new with fewer expectations and preconceptions. Along with no thingness, you have going with the flow, moment to moment, possibilities, and integration. It's going to be difficult for me to get these all in the same frame together, But just to kind of wrap up your reading, yeah, I think that there, in some sort of way, like if you're trying to repeat or like problem solve in the way that you have in the past, there's more connection that's asked of you right now. And this connection usually happens when there's a surrender of control. So in the ways that you can, in whatever, meditative states or small gestures of kindness you can make to yourself, it kind of remind you that you don't need to control as much as you think that you need to control. That if you find yourself projecting into the future or ruminating deeply on the past, that's not the experience of life that you're called to have, and there is a deeper experience available to you. So kind of invite that going with the flow, that moment to moment experience, and by just simply inviting it, you'll be able to kind of like slip into that river of well-being, that thing that carries our lives forward in a more harmonious way, that is not kind of grasping or clamoring for solidity or control necessarily, because this is a time of great possibilities. With that Tower card crumbling, like that's you're perceiving those kind of spaces being made in life so that you can be excited by possibility, not frozen by it. And again, sort of as that Temperance card came up in your reading, to kind of clarify the energies that you're working with, that is the integration that you're doing. You're not in the wrong place by feeling maybe frozen or stuck or frustrated right now or confused. What's happening now is that you're integrating those experiences so that like the future that you're creating is based on a solid foundation, something that's whole, one where you can show up to the people that you love or the people that you're working with and respond thoughtfully and compassionately to them in the ways that reflect your high ideals. It's like there's a learning experience happening now, and just kind of giving over to the fact that this is a learning moment, that it is a moment to explore and integrate the things that are challenging right now. That can open up the feeling of those possibilities being exciting. So whether it's, journaling out feelings or, setting aside time just for quiet and meditation, kind of feeling into the no-thingness, kind of feeling your way back to your body without, the expectations of the mind and the, trying to figure things out quite so much. Allowing yourself more space and compassion, particularly compassion. And once you can do that, you'll be able to offer it to other people as well. And those connections will deepen. And the advice is that everything that is coming up now as a challenge or as a pain point, it's there to be integrated. It's there to work for you. Every challenge is there for your benefit. If you can invite that, if you can invite it to serve you that way. So I hope that this helps. And this is a longer reading than I've been doing lately, but I hope something connects with your heart, and I will talk to you again. Take care.